So is there more to it when we say, I want to look great, I want to feel great, I want to live great? Well, the short answer is yes, it is. Sal, Sue, and Peter here from Strong Healthy Women, and we are going to talk about this. I want to look great, feel great, and live great. And so when we actually say those words, what we're really saying to ourselves is that we have a desire to live better physically and emotionally. That's really all it means. And so when we talk about looking good, it's generally about how we look, pretty much. It's about appearance, right? And so, I'd like to be taller, but that's never going to happen. So there are certain things that we can't change when it comes to appearance, but it might mean, for example, that you want to be a certain weight, or it might mean that you want to dress nicely, or you want to have good morning routines where you groom yourself so you look better, type of thing. So you might like to have toned arms. The list goes on, basically. And when you look good or look great, what happens is that builds your confidence and it builds your self-esteem. So you feel better about yourself. So when it comes to feeling great, I always say that that is about mind and body. So when you've got that positive state of mind and good mental health, and you're able to physically, do the things that you love and enjoy, what that means is that you feel better in yourself because you're able to think clearer, you're able to be more responsive, you're able to, do the things that you want to do in life. Now, when it comes to living great, I always think that that's about, a greater sense of vitality, and that you have this ability to fully engage in life. And that could mean something entirely different, but generally it will mean that you live some type of healthy lifestyle. You've probably got good exercise routines and good nutrition happening. You probably handle stress a bit better. Maybe you have good quality sleep, as an example. So, your overall direction is that you've got this great sense of purpose and meaning to life because you're out there just enjoying it. I'm just going to take a little pause there.
Well, okay. No, I think that's good. I think also I want to just start with the physical part about the looking good. Now
Yep.
we've been through, and something that's a little bit of a beef for me is that um I think that sometimes people get a bit carried away with things. Now, for looking good, I'm going to put it out there that as I've got older, okay, I might not put on makeup every day, or I mightn't have my hair done properly every day. But I tell you what, when I do make the effort, I feel great. And I do want to look good. I do want to be, the best version of myself. Does that mean, but I think that people get into this thing of, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because there's more important things you should be concerned about, or it should be more about who you are as a person. And I agree with that. It should be what you are on the inside. But I agree with you, Peter, that when you do make the effort, I put on a bit of makeup and do my hair properly, put on a nice outfit, I feel fabulous and I feel motivated. I feel motivated or I put on a new workout outfit, get a bright color, some bright colored leggings, and it motivates me to get out there because I'm feeling good about myself. And I think that, people go on about, oh, you should go grey naturally and things like that. That is fine if that's what you want to do. But for me, I think the trouble is we get so caught up in thinking and listening to what we're told we should be doing rather than being the way we want to be ourselves. If you don't want to wear makeup, if you don't care what you look like on the outside, that's fine. But if you do care, that's fine too. So I think that it's important that we do what's right for ourselves and not be ashamed to say, I want to look good. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of, and I'm talking physical,
Yeah.
looking now. I'm not a fan of, I'm not going to go and have Botox, and I'm not going to have anything like that. That what you see is what you get. But if someone wants to do that and it makes them feel better, go
Yeah.
for it. Just stop comparing yourself to everybody else. Just do what you want to do and what makes you feel good.
Hmm.
I've had my say now.
And it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you say that, Sue, because Pete, we just literally had this conversation like prior to jumping on, and Peter said, "Oh, have you just had your eyelashes done, Sally Ann?" Now, for me, when you hit that 50 and you start going through menopause, you start losing the hair. So
You do.
I used to have thick eyelashes and that sort of thing. And probably about 18 months ago, my daughter got her lashes done. I went, they look so pretty. Get yours done, Mum. And I went, no, I'm too old for that sort of thing. No, Mum, get them done. And it just makes me feel better. I have, it's not only motivating, but you have that little bit more confidence, and your posture, you're not slouching down trying to hide. Your posture sort of comes up a bit, So I don't care if people look at me and go, oh, God, she's too old to have eyelashes. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, and when I was thinking about it, you're someone who actually does your nails as well too. So you do your nails and your lashes, that's your thing. For me, my thing is, my friend does my hair once a week for me, so on a Wednesday, you'll see that I have, beautiful waves in my hair, by a Monday, they're starting to come out type of thing. But that's the thing that makes me feel great. And, I enjoy doing it. And I'm just going to come back to what Sue said as well, too. When you put on a little bit of makeup and you put on a nice outfit, I know for me, I walk taller, I'm more confident. And, I'll even get the high heel shoes out and put on the high heel shoes. But most of the rest of the time, I don't have makeup on. I have no interest or desire to actually, clog my skin up or do any of those things. But years ago, if I go back to my 30s or even my 40s, I was still doing those things. But, as I've moved progressively into my 50s and now 60s, I don't worry about it so much. But, as you said, if it's something that you want to do, then you should do it. It's totally okay, because how you want to present yourself is entirely up to you. I even think about colors as an example, so I have green eyes. So greens are great for me. So, and it just so happens that green and pink are our brand colors. And that's because they are two colors that really look great on me. That wasn't deliberate at the time. But it just so happens that, when I get on a live, I put my green shirt on because it makes my eyes stand out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, and again, we're still talking about that physical appearance, but I had a friend, and she had mouth cancer and throat, and she's had a treatment, she's fine now, but the poor darling, lost her teeth and all of that, and she was really feeling quite low. And as she progressed through the treatment and she was getting better, she just used to put to make herself feel better. I mean, if I'm at home, you wear anything around the house, don't you? But what she did every day, she got up and she put on something colourful, and she made an effort to make herself look better because she was feeling so low about herself and what she was going through. And just by doing that, and I mean, she's in her 70s, and her husband's probably in his late 70s, maybe 80s, and she'd get him to take a photo of her and she'd put it on Instagram, and it was her way of coping with the illness and finding that self-confidence, as you said, Peter and Sal, by just putting on a colourful outfit and feeling good about the way she looked. And you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all want to look good. We all want to look the best we can. It's just, I suppose, not taking it to either end of the spectrum, you know, doing what is right for you.
Yeah. You know, and I don't think it's just like, I know, you know, our group is women over 50, you know, ageless confidence, but you know, my 18-year-old daughter is going through something at the moment, very, very tough. And you know, she posted the other day on Instagram, and she took a photo of herself and she said, makeup always makes me feel better. You know, so she got out of bed, put her makeup on, and her smile was brighter. You know, so I don't think it's not, you know, I think all stages of our life we go through those times when we just go, you know what, I'm going to do this because this is what makes me feel better. This is what gives me the confidence. This is what gives me self-esteem. Yeah.
Our eldest granddaughter, she used to stay with us. We babysat on the weekends while her mum was working on the weekends. And I remember one day we were going out for lunch, and you know, it was just a spur of the minute thing, and we'd had a shower because we'd been down mucking around with the horses and whatnot. So we'd all had a shower and everything. I put clothes on, and she was only little at the time, and she said, "Are you not putting makeup on?" Like, she's literally 4, I think, at the time, maybe even younger. "Are you not putting makeup on?" "No." She says, "But Mummy always puts makeup on." And she said, and I like to have a little bit of makeup on. And I said, "Oh no, we can go out without makeup. It doesn't matter." You know, so it really is interesting how you know, sometimes those things that we start doing, we can start doing at a very, very young age, and accepting ourselves for just what we have and what our body can do for us, I think is really, really important. So
absolutely.
So I want to move off this, you know, look, feel, and live great, and take it into fitness goals as such. So those 3 categories are about appearance. So generally what happens is when you start working out, you will start working out for one of those 3 things. So you'll start working out because you want to change your appearance in some way, you want to change your performance in some way, or you want to you are more focused on longevity and how you're living life. So look great, feel great, and live great. They're just 3 goals that we would hear constantly when someone comes in and says, you know, I want to start a fitness program. This is what I want to achieve. But there is more to it than that. So if we started to break down the appearance aspect of it, what we're saying there is maybe I want to lose some weight, maybe I want to tone muscles, maybe I want to be a particular body shape, maybe what I want to do is have, you know, a different look and feel to, you know, my backside as an example. So, you know, I might want to have that toned booty as such. So what we're saying is that we might start, and generally as a rule, us women, we're renowned for starting a fitness program because of appearance. Would you agree with that, girls?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, when we become more consistent and we achieve that initial reason for doing it, we then start to think about these other 2 buckets as such. We start to think about this feel great, this performance side of it, or we start to feel, you know, start to think about the longevity aspect of it. And so a lot of performance people, so athletes, if you think about them, they're focused on how they're going to be in a particular sport or activity. Now, for most of us, we're probably going to go, but I'm not an athlete. Hey, listen, if you can move your body and you want to move your body better, then you're an athlete. So
Absolutely.
so we all want to improve that performance side of it. So it could be that we want to have better speed or strength or endurance, power, flexibility, mobility. Like the list goes on and on and on. So, when you think about performance, it's enabling you to do something in life. So that could be chasing grandkids around. It might be skiing a mountain. It, could be stand-up paddleboarding. So it could be any type of physical activity that you want to keep doing in life. So, that's a different way of looking at goals. Because one of the things that happens is we will fit into these three categories. We will say these three categories, but we never really scrape away the layers and the surfaces to get to that real underlying meaning of what we truly want to achieve when it comes to starting an exercise program.
And I think people are scared to do that.
Why do you think that is, Sal?
I think because it then comes down to being absolutely brutally honest with yourself.
Yeah.
On where you actually are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You may have been exercising in your 20s and 30s, and then it was children and grandchildren, and that hasn't been able to fit into your life. So then when you're getting back into it and you have to dig at those layers, I think sometimes we get scared. We're scared to admit that this is where we are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that people, especially as we get a little bit older, some words can have different connotations for us. So if we say to them, "What are your goals?" Invariably they'll think, "Oh, I don't have any goals." But if you rephrase it in the way you've just been doing, Peter, where you think about why you want to do something and how you're going to do it, achieving, well, that's sort of goal related. But I think people feel pressured thinking, "Oh, I've got to do this, set this big goal," and they feel like it's sort of got to be, let's go and climb Mount Everest or do this or that. And they don't realize that by saying something like, "I'd like to lose weight," or I want some more energy to be able to keep up with my grandchildren," or "I want to be able to do my own, live independently," they're actually goals. They're actually things that you want to achieve, but probably I think that wording, the words we use sometimes can also make us feel afraid and feel pressured into something when it's not really that at all.
No, it's very interesting, the power of the mind that it has on our ability to get honest with ourselves and our ability to actually make those steps or those changes that we want to do in life. We can quite often get caught up in the power of our thoughts, and those thoughts, we start to believe them, whatever they happen to say to us. And so then that just stops us in our tracks from actually even starting. So we've got those roadblocks up before we even make a move. And we would see this quite constantly, where ladies have lots of different reasons for not doing something, But if they spent that time getting out of their head and just being a little bit more real with themselves about how they're actually feeling, then they can achieve like even better things in life. You know, one of the things that we specialize in is the fitness foundations, right? So all of the things that keep the body strong and flexible and fit so that you can do all of the things that you want to do in life. And so every quarter, so every season, we go through an assessment with our ladies to actually go, okay, so where are you in regards to whatever this thing happens to be? Now, last week, we did some assessments, and what we noticed, and I was already saying this to you girls in our staff meeting, was that I'm noticing these certain women, how to me they look like they're regressing. So they don't look like they're improving any, they look like they're going backwards. And yet there were other women there that I've gone, you know, okay, we believe that they're improving. And so by doing these assessments, what we can do is we can go, okay, yes, we have gone backwards, or no, we've gone forwards with it. And we hate doing it. We just hate doing it, right? We get that little roadblock again. Oh, I don't want to do that. Because again, it comes down to that realness, isn't it? Because we can sweep it under the carpet. We can actually go, oh, well, you know, it's okay, I'm exercising. But are we actually exercising? Are we actually challenging ourselves to do more, to be better? Or are we allowing ourselves to just go through those motions, and which therefore means that at some point we start to decline in our ability? And so when I saw this, I sent, you know, a number of messages out and said, here was your numbers last time, here's your numbers this time. And so this morning, when we did this morning session, I said, okay, so if your numbers were less, how many people have actually done that simple sit to stand a few more times during the course of the week? You know, instead of sitting, have you just gone, okay, I'm going to sit to stand a bit more? No one's done it. And so I started to say, you know what? If we can't sit to stand, it means that at some point, I'm not going to get my driver's license. I'm not going to be able to get in the car to go and buy groceries. I'm not going to be able to get myself out of my chair successfully. And that means that I am no longer going to be able to live independently. So even though we go, well, I'm exercising and I'm doing everything that I can do, we sometimes have to get a little bit more real with ourselves.
And I like to compare it to driving your car, because when you get your license or you're learning to drive, you know, training and exercise is, as you said, you know, people just go out, they do a workout, I'm exercising, that's all good.
Yeah.
But you are never going to get stronger.
No.
If you just keep doing the bare minimum, that's where you're going to stay, you know. And as I said, it's like driving a car. You get your license, you're allowed to go around the block. Okay, you've gotten good at going around the block. What's your next challenge? We're going to drive through town. So that's my next challenge. I've got to bring it up a notch. Okay, great, you've driven through town. I'm going to take you out into the highway. Oh, my God, I'm scared, but I can do this. I get out onto the highway. And exercise is the same. You have to, every 4 weeks, you've got to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Every 4 to 6 weeks, those weights have to get heavier. Those squats have to get deeper. You have to change your exercise up, because you will be at the bare minimum. And as you said, Peter, that's when you start regressing. And can I just add with that sit to stand? you're gonna probably have to add grab rails into your toilet, because you're not going to be able to get up and down off the toilet.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're anyone,
and that's one of the things that we do several times a day.
Yeah. And you know, for someone like me who I love a bath, okay? So it means I can't get out of that bathtub. So one of the self-care things, the pampering things that I do for myself, I can't do any longer if I stop doing that. And you know, one of the things that we shared in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy, I actually broke how to do this in that group last Tuesday morning, I think it was. And one of the gorgeous women actually said, you know, that we should be getting up and down off the ground. And I said, we totally should be. There are so many different exercises, movement patterns that we need to be conscious of doing, but we have to start somewhere. And that simple sit to stand is the best place for starting. So, you know, it's far better for you to sit to stand than to go out and do a 10-minute walk. Because what you're doing is you're focusing on stability, your core muscles, you're focusing on your lower body muscles. And once you start to add your hands in, your arms in, reaching up, overhead or in front of you, you're starting to use your upper body as well too. And so eventually that chair that you're sitting on can become a lower chair. Eventually, what can happen is it's going to take you to getting down off the ground and getting down to the ground and getting up off the ground as well too. So it's about meeting yourself where you're at and then moving from there.
And being honest with that.
Yeah, totally.
Like, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. We've all been there. You know, we've all regressed at some point. But it's about being honest and saying, okay, well, yep, this is where I'm at. This is my starting point. Let's go.
And it's something that Sue and I were talking about the other day. We were discussing, you know, those 5-year intervals. I'm a firm believer in, you know, 65 is different to 60. 60 is different to 55. 55 is different to 50. 50, you know, and so on and so forth. You know, and we'll often see on social media that there is no difference. Age is a state of mind, etc., etc. You know, you can stay as fit and strong as you want to as you're aging. But the reality is that for the average person, the ordinary person like us, we've played sports, we've had injuries over the years. Those types of things catch up with us. And so, you know, if we don't have that same level of movement in our ankles as what we had before we had these injuries, because, you know, we never went and had physio, or if we did go and have it, we didn't bother to do the exercises that they gave us to do as the rehab. And so therefore we've lost that mobility. And so therefore it does start to impact us. And so, you know, we will start to notice those differences as we're aging. But what we can do is acknowledge them and say to ourselves, is there something I can do to improve this right now? Is there a way to improve it? You know, if I don't have as much flexibility in my ankles, yes, there is. It's called mobility training. Okay, and there's simple movements that you can do to help improve it. You know, one of the things that we see quite often is if we're down on the ground and we're doing crossbody mountain climbers or, you know, push-ups, it doesn't matter what the exercise is, some type of body weight movement. We often see ladies get up and they're, oh, you know, my wrists are so sore, etc., etc. It's like, all you need to do to improve that in your wrists is to actually do a little bit of mobility work on your wrists. Because I was one of those women. I was starting to see that happening to myself. And all of a sudden, when I picked it up, I went, oh my goodness, I need to do something. And it was just simple stuff that I could do while I was stretching. I just added those few extra movements into that stretching routine. And now I can get down there and I'm not thinking about, oh, my wrists are sore. I'm actually now being able to focus on the exercise that I'm doing to improve, my endurance or to improve my strength in my body.
And it's interesting that you say that, Peter, because, we see it in our studio. My wrists are sore. So the first go-to is to take it from the floor and go to an elevation.
Yeah, absolutely.
To take the pressure off the wrist. So that's regression. Mm-hmm. Instead of going, okay, I'm on the floor. This is where I want to stay. My wrists are sore. Yeah. As you said, what can I do to help strengthen them? Which is progression.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So anything that you want to wrap up with?
No, I think you've covered it all. Just, I think, as you say, don't give up. Just keep challenging yourself to, rather than saying, oh, well, I've regressed or I've been on holidays, it's too hard to start again. Just get in, start it off, draw the line in the sand and work towards getting back to where you were, because you can if you put the effort in and you really try. So don't give up, keep going, and don't feel because you're in your 50s, 60s or 70s that you can't challenge yourself.
Absolutely.
Have a go. What's the worst that can happen? You can't do it.
But
what can happen, and invariably when we say to the ladies, why don't you try this, which is the next level up? And they probably have been resisting that because they're too frightened. They won't be able to do it. You ask them to do it, they try, and invariably they can do it. So, you just got to have a bit of faith in yourself.
Yep. What about you, Sel? Anything to wrap up?
2 things: get rid of the guilt and get rid of the embarrassment. If you have regressed, if you haven't done anything for so long and this is your starting point and you're going, yes, this is what I want to do, and you find your baseline, get rid of the guilt, get rid of the embarrassment, because you're doing something about it. So guilt and embarrassment have no place there.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. I also love the fact that you mentioned baseline. I think it's really, really important to find that baseline. You've got to know where you're starting, because if you don't know where you're starting, you certainly don't have any idea where you're going to go. So even though you might have a goal, how do you know you've achieved it?
Exactly. And your baseline is not where you finished off 10 years ago.
No.
We often talk about that, is we like to think that we're still that person 5, 10, 20 years ago, and we're working out. That's not your baseline now. So don't just imagine that that's what it is.
Yeah. Part of the fitness foundations is balance, because, we certainly don't want to be those old ladies who, take a fall, break a hip, and, we all know what the stats are around that type of thing if we do break a hip and the recovery, etc. And so this morning, one of the things I've been doing during the course of last week was I've been working on my balance. And so for anybody who ever sees me out pounding the streets around here, they would see me doing some ridiculous things. So I had been stopping at the telegraph poles, and I had actually been going down into a lunge, then coming back up into a leg lift at the back to go into a balance move and hold, and then bring that leg through to the front, and then have the leg out in the front in a balance hold. So I've gone from the back to the front, and then I, alternated between legs. And I said, okay, ladies, so, our fitness foundations, our balance in action has been this. Okay, if this is all you can do, that's great. I want to challenge you this morning. Here's what I want you to try to do. and they tried. They tried. So, you know, kudos to each and every one of them for trying, and for each and every one of them identifying what they couldn't do, because now they're aware of it. So now they can start to improve that balance. And so, but there were four ladies, Alison, Kerry, June, and Melissa. Four of them got out, 3 on both sides within the minute. So they focused on, you know, taking their time, going through that process. And, you know, I really, really want to give that shout out to Melissa and June here, because these are 2 women who, when they started, their arch nemesis was a lunge. They would get the wobbles up, they couldn't get their legs down, and yet look at them now. They're masters at it, and they can go from a lunge position into a balance position. That's amazing. That is amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I want to wrap up by saying, you know, when you say to yourself, I want to look great, feel great, and live great, I want you to think about what that actually means to you. To spend some time uncovering it, looking at it. Means appearance, it means performance, it means longevity. So which of these things are important to you right now? And which of these things are going to help get you started on improving where you are as far as how you live and embrace life each day? Because we know that exercise and different types of exercises are the things that are going to help you live and enjoy life long term. Thanks for joining me, ladies.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you for having us.
You are very, very welcome. All right, ladies, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being here with us, and that we will see you all next week for another new and exciting topic. See you all then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.